As my wife makes a guest appearance in the background. All right, giddy up. I told you I can't see it because of the backlight. Knicks win. Thank God. Thank God. I don't know if I could have emotionally dealt with a loss in that game after what was a lot of good stuff and some bad stuff, mostly contained to one player who we'll get to in a bit. But we are going to start with the good because that game certainly deserved praise on the players who made it possible. As with every Knicks game this season, there are things to be happy about and there are things to complain about, and some of them more than others. Tonight, like several of the games that have taken place this year, one big thing to maybe not be so happy about, but we'll get to him in a bit. First things first. So the Knicks have won 4 in a row. How about that? After being effectively eliminated by the Hawks last Monday, they've won 4 straight, of course, for the first time all year. And it's bittersweet, obviously, because this team was not able to figure it out all season long. They never had the chemistry. They just never looked like a team who knew what they were doing. Even the third game of the regular season, after the big win to start against Boston, and then the blowout against Orlando. When you lose to that Orlando team, it was a sign. It was a sign, and some of us knew it back then. And they were never able to put it together. They're putting it together now. And how are they putting it together? Well, they're putting it together on the backs of the people that fans have wanted to see for the entire season. They're putting it together on, and I could talk about a stat line that I could not, if I tried to, care less about. Immanuel Quickley, I think, ended this game with 8 points, 4 assists, 1 rebound. Could not care less. I don't know if he was the most important Knick tonight because Alec Burks and RJ Barrett have a word about that. But when I think of the big plays and the big moments in this game, Immanuel Quickley is going to be at the forefront of my mind because he's a point guard. Whatever discussion there was, and there certainly was a discussion, is over now. I know I already saw one of the super chats from first time, long time Robert Cross, so we'll get to that in a second. But Immanuel Quickley, to make a play like that, to make that drive and kick to Burks, to say nothing of the fact that, like, when it was getting down to it and it looks like the Knicks, I was convinced the Knicks were going to go down when they desperately needed a bucket. What does Quickley do? Draws a foul, gets to the line, makes 2 free throws. Because of course he does. Because in a lot of ways, he is the most savvy veteran calming presence on this team right now, which is a staggering thing to say about a second-year player. Of course, he didn't do it by himself. RJ Barrett, ho-hum, 28 points, 2 of 3 from 3, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. He just keeps moseying along. He just keeps racking up these numbers. And I'm going to have a piece coming out in the newsletter on, I guess, Wednesday probably, because tomorrow will be a game wrap-up, about RJ's max extension, potentially, and whether he should get the max, whether he should get close to the max, whether they should wait another year, and all that stuff. That's a conversation we'll have at a certain point in time. The conversation about whether RJ Barrett is like a cornerstone player and a core player, whatever verbiage you want to use, that ended a long time ago. Tonight was just another sign of it. It's now just a matter of how high does the ceiling get? How good can he get? Because, 28 points, do you want it to be 28 points on 24 shots? No, you'd rather it be 28 points on like 16 shots. That's the way the NBA has gone. Can he get there? Yeah, I think he can. But for right now, 21 years old, not even first season, first half a season being, I keep repeating it, the guy on his team. And like tonight, yet again, another piece of evidence. He was the guy. Talked about it on the halftime zone. I'll mention it again here. When Alec Burks had it going there in the second quarter, Julius Randle was looking for the ball on the block for a post-up. And what did RJ Barrett do? He said, I'm driving and kicking to the guy that has whatever he had at that point, 9 straight points. Kicked it to Burks. Burks made it 3. It's a sign of leadership. It's a sign of a guy taking command of this team. He is the leader on this team right now, and I don't think there's any question about it. So good stuff by RJ Barrett, and of course I'm going to give some love to my man Alec Burks. I've spent a lot of time on this program, whatever you want to call it, defending Alec Burks. Don't take my word for it. Take Mike Breen's word for it. Take Mike Breen's word for it. Said it on the broadcast tonight. It's not the first time he said it. Take into account when you assess Alec Burks this season that he has been put in a very, very difficult position. And we can criticize the man and probably should criticize the man that put him in that position, especially when it looks like they have another player, Immanuel Quickley, who could have taken on that role more effectively, especially in those crunch time situations where they lost. But don't blame Burks. Don't blame Burks because Burks has been good. A great game for him. Great run there. 12 straight points in the first half. Obviously the biggest shot of the game, that 3-pointer. But really, it's all the young players. And here I am talking about quickly RJ and Burks, and I might be leaving the best for last in Obi Toppin because I had a quote or a stat in the Knicks Film School newsletter earlier today that Obi Toppin this year has played. He didn't do it against Detroit, but he had done it in the previous 2 games. He's seen at least 23 minutes 8 times in his second year. His averages, and he averaged about 30 minutes in those games where he's played over 23 minutes. 14.7 rebounds, a little over 3 assists, 58.6% shooting, and 30.1% from deep. Shocking. When a guy has a chance to get into rhythm, he shoots better on the 3, and lo and behold, guess what? Guess who's making threes all of a sudden? Obi Toppin. Why? Because he's getting a chance to shoot them, and he's getting some playing time. He is such a he's still a refreshing breath of air every time he steps foot onto the court. We saw a really nice move tonight where he finished that move close by the basket in the fourth quarter. I think he could do pretty well for himself next year. Take another step up. Keep working on that 3 ball. He looks like a starting power forward to me. Maybe not on a great team, but on a pretty good one. McBride contributed only 7 minutes, but McBride contributed. Haven't mentioned either of the centers tonight. I think Mitch takes the edge tonight with 16 points and 12 rebounds. I think 8 of those were on the offensive glass. Just, again, 8 offensive rebounds from Mitchell Robinson like it is nothing. Like it's nothing. We've come to expect that from him. Knicks have a couple of really good centers on their hands. And, of course, it would not be an opening monologue if I did not mention Redacted. I shouldn't even say his name because he's not a basketball player anymore. He's a puddle of a basketball player. He is a basketball player, someone that used to be a basketball player that has been vaporized, that has evaporated, that has flittered off into the ether. He doesn't look like he wants to be out there right now. He doesn't look like he knows what he's doing out there right now. I don't really have anything else to say. Was tonight the low point? I don't know. Telling your fan base to go fuck off is that's a pretty low point. But I kind of thought tonight was the low point. Just from a standpoint of like what he was out there doing or not doing or trying to do, or like I couldn't figure it out. I don't know what's wrong with him. Fred Katz said it to me on the podcast months ago. When a guy looks this out of sorts, it's not about basketball. Something else is going on with him. Something else has been going on with him the whole year. I actually felt bad for him for the first time tonight. I don't know what else to say. And then, of course, it comes all back to Tibbs because guess who put him back in the game with 3 minutes left? Did he put him back in the game because he thought Obi was gassed? Obi had played, I think, 12 straight minutes there, 11 and a half, 12 straight minutes. Whatever. If we had experienced a season in which, and again, it's like if my mother had wheels, she'd be a wagon. So it's not fair of me to say this, but in which either Derrick Rose hadn't suffered a significant injury and he was closing these games at point guard instead of Alec Burks, or Tibbs went with Quickley instead of Burks. And then alternatively, instead of game after game after game of 34 minutes for Julius Randle, 12 minutes for Obi Toppin, or 36 minutes for Julius Randle, 10 minutes for Obi Toppin, instead we got 28 minutes for Julius Randle and 20 minutes for Obi Toppin, or even 30 minutes for Julius Randle and 18 minutes for Obi Toppin. Like, would anybody out there be complaining about Tom Thibodeau as a head coach? And yet, every person who has one of those complaints is valid because those decisions, and like, I forgive the Burks thing more than others because that's me. If you disagree, that's fine. I don't blame you. It really comes down to the Randle thing. And we saw it again tonight. He puts Randle back in the game. And yet there's a reason I continue to defend this coach. And it's because, and I'll say it again, and I'm a broken record at this point, God knows, he's a good coach. He's good. You don't get a team to win 4 straight games at this point in the season, continue to play hard, continue to execute, continue to play unselfishly, underrated thing, unselfishly. God, how many Knicks teams have we seen year after year after year after year over the last 20 years when they're out of it? Just say, fuck this, I'm getting my numbers. Doesn't happen on this team. It's too much accountability. It's too much respect for the coach. I know it's not the accountability where people want it. It's not the accountability where I want it. But you're going to wake up tomorrow morning and the Knicks are going to be the 8th or 9th team in net rating since the All-Star break. They're going to have a winning record since the All-Star break. You can't. That's not a mirage. They're going to finish the season as a top 8 or 9 defense. That's not a mirage. All of these things are not mirages, and they're hard to do. And yet, it is still frustrating. It is still frustrating because of all the things we talked about and we'll continue to talk about tonight. We got over 700 people in here watching. My goodness gracious. Only fans of this team would be going down with this ship because at least the cello player is in tune as we move around the deck chairs and root for our young kids. Let's go to the super chats and let's get it started. I could see already you guys are on fire tonight. I love it. I appreciate everybody in here. Let's get those likes up. First one, Huber then. I could spew ire at Tibbs for waiting this long to adjust, but at this point, what's the point? He's coached well since being forced. I give him credit. And I'm glad you pointed that out, Huber. There was some forcing here, I think. I don't know for a fact. I think there was some forcing here. There was definitely forcing in terms of injuries. Was there some, if you don't do this, you're not going to have a job next year from the front office? Perhaps. Whatever the reason is, part of the yin and the yang of Tibbs is you got to be able to help him against himself. And with the options he has now, they're kind of doing it. And, he's a good coach. So here we go. David Futterneck shouting out, get the likes up for the Cutler crew. What's going on, buddy? Hope things are good in sunny California. Robert Cross, first time, long time, John. Of course, IQ is a point guard, and he should start for the Knicks next season. I've seen enough. # future all-star. Thank you for that, as always, Robert. I will quote another stat I had in this morning's edition of the Knicks Film School newsletter. Over the last month, and these numbers are probably going to go down a little bit after tonight, Quickley has been averaging, these are per 36 numbers, 21.4 points, 7.1 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 6.4 made free throws, and 2.8 made threes. He's the only player in the NBA to average those numbers per 36 minutes over the last month coming into tonight. If you take away the made threes requirement, it's him, Giannis, James Harden, Nikola Jokic, SGA, and Ja Morant. Oh, and KD. Forgot about KD. If you take away the made free throws requirement, it's Quickley, Luka, LeBron, Middleton, Curry, LaMelo Ball, and Bones Highland with those numbers. Any way you cut it, if you look at it on a per 36-minute basis, if you just watch the fucking games, he looks like a star. Is he going to be a future all-star? I don't know about that. but he looks like a guy who can be, I'll quote Mr. Thibodeau here, a star in his role. And that's all you can want if you're the Knicks from the 27th pick in the draft. Brian Benjamin, you should put a picture of Tibbs on top of RJ's face on your poster because those two are connected at the hip. They kind of are. Sad but true. They kind of are. Also, I'll eat crow on Alec Burks. I mean, look, he was a frustrating player to watch for a lot of this year. I don't blame people for getting upset. As for Tibbs, I wrote it last week, and I'll stand by it. One of them has to go. I know who I want it to be because I don't think if you bring in another coach, I don't think it's going to make a hell of a difference with Randle, who I think is in La La Land. I know Tibbs could coach. I don't trust him to coach Julius Randle at this point. I don't trust anyone to coach Julius Randle at this point. Hannibal Miles. This game shows why last season's intangibles worked. Burks can be clutch Burks in the fourth because he's not playing point guard and the defense always wins games. They still have the most prepared defense in the league night in and night out. I mean, that's the thing, right? Is you look at them this year and you look up, and again, I hate to keep doing this, but you look at the defensive rating number this year without Kemba Walker on the court. And I'll look it up right now. I'm pretty sure it's the top 4 number, which where were they ranked last year? 4th place. You know, like he can coach defense. That's never been in question. As for Burks in the fourth quarter, he hit a lot of big shots last year. So this isn't a surprise to me, but again, it has to be in the right role. Ryan Huang, eject more minutes of these kids. Inject, I think you mean, more minutes of these kids into my veins. Please don't inject the kids. And Burks is an honorary kid tonight. The development is worth falling back a few picks. I trust the front office. Look, a couple things on that, and I appreciate the comment. Thank you, as always, Ryan. If you look at what teams are doing now in terms of like shutting guys down, like the Kings kind of announced today that Demonis Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox are going to be shut down for the year. Like guys are shutting down. Miles Turner is getting shut down from the year. Like all these guys are getting shut down. Like realistically, even if like who are the Knicks going to shut? Like you can't play 3 Ryan Arcidiaconos 48 minutes a night. Like they didn't have anybody else to shut down. As it is, they've had guys shut down. Derrick Rose is not going to come back. Like Quentin Grimes has missed a bunch of time. They've had injury issues, and you're going to look up at the end and it's like they're just probably not going. There was never a legitimate tank in them. Could they have gotten down to 5th, 6th, 7th? Probably could have gotten down to 8th if they worked hard enough. 5, 6, to where San Antonio is. Who knows? Maybe they still get there. San Antonio is only 3 games back of them. But, the difference between 8th and 12th for me, I would rather see the kids come up big. And the other part of your comment that I want to touch on is the fact that it just tonight goes to show that when you have good vets, the right vets, who are functional cogs on a good two-way team surrounding your young players, and most importantly, you have a couple of really good young players, RJ Barrett, Immanuel Quickley being the top 2, who could really spearhead an offense. Maybe not a great offense, but a decent offense. That's perfect development. Not playing all kids. You got to play some vets. So yeah, good stuff there. Anthony Sixto, what's going on, Anthony? The IQ dish to Burks was next level. I completely agree. And he's stumbling too. Beautiful draw and vision to make that play. I'm in heavy traffic. RJ Barrett looking for the poster was great to see. Yeah, I'll talk about RJ in a sec. The thing about Quickley, and I'll shout out to Tom Piccolo who had this on the clip that he tweeted out, that Burks has done a great job at the timing of his drives in terms of he's not waiting for the screen. He sees the opening and he just goes. He's very deceptive, incredibly deceptive, very crafty, which you have to be when you don't have elite finishing ability. So it's the same thing with the floater. He has to be crafty. As for RJ Barrett, look, I know he was 10 for 24. Again, I don't care. I don't care because the process is there. Are all of these great shots? No, they're not all great shots. But more and more of these are gonna fall as he gets more and more used to being the guy. And I still believe in the off the dribble threes. They're coming, or the spot up threes. They're coming. Just give it time. They're coming. Robert Cross. First time, long time, John. Did you see the Grinch not celebrate with his teammates and walk off at the end? I did. Time to ship him out of town. I thought I saw it, and I wasn't going to say anything because I wasn't sure. If you're saying it too, I think he just wants the season to be over. And that's why, like, I feel a little queasy. You know, it's like the Will Smith stuff from today. Like, you feel queasy trying to peer into the mind of a guy who none of us know. Well, unless Kendra's watching. Hi, Kendra. Um, none of us know this guy. We don't talk to him. We don't know what's going on in his head. But like, it sure as hell seems like something is off. Something is very off, and he doesn't want to be here, and doesn't really want to play basketball right now, and that has to have an effect. You know. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel kind of bad for him, actually. Crazily enough. Kevin Danishevsky, what's going on, Kev? Always good to hear from you. Want to shout out Mitch after I called him out last night. Good job by you. His defense on Vooch, for the most part, was improved from last time. Also, he's just a beast. Again, 8 offensive rebounds, like it's nothing. Vooch got him a few times, but Vooch gets everybody a few times. Vooch is still one of the 5 best offensive centers in the game. I thought Mitch did a really nice job. He's making that decision for the Knicks. You know, he's making it like we go back. We've talked about this all year. We've gone back and forth on it. It's like to let a guy like this just walk. That's he's making that the notion of that just very unsettling. I don't want to see him just walk. I know that. So, is he perfect? No, he's pretty good. Shamik Gayen, excuse me, got the vowels mixed up there. I want to shout out the idiots who had Caruso over RJ on that dumb list. 3 points and 6 fouls for Caruso. So valuable. Oh boy. Oh, the crow. Where's the crow? Oh wait, no, the crow's down here. Yeah, let's get Mr. Crow. I'm sure the folks that made that list over at, was it The Athletic? I don't even know. I love The Athletic, so I'm not going to crash them. I'm sure they would love a knife and fork and one of these guys. Crowy the Crow, RJ the Crow, whatever the hell his name is. Yeah, I mean, look, you get why they did it, right? Because if you're a stacked playoff team, here we go. We'll get him guest starring here. If you're a stacked playoff team, is there a world where, like, when you already have your number 1 and your number 2 shot creators, is there a world where you would look at Alex Caruso and be like, well, maybe he fits more easily on our team than RJ Barrett? Like, I could see that world. Like, I'm trying to think of a team. Like if you're the Bucks and you already have Giannis and Middleton and Drew Holiday, and you just need guys who are going to make threes and like just do all the dirty work, like would they have an internal meeting about who do we want for the rest of this season and just this season? I could see them having a conversation about that because look, RJ, say what you want about him, the efficiency stuff is still there. But the notion that you wouldn't have him on a list of the top 125 players because you're just looking at it from that one minute perspective, very small perspective, and not considering the fact that there are a lot of teams out there who are looking for a guy or a number 2 guy. And by the way, are willing to make the investment and see the guy improve is ridiculous to me. And that's why that list was absurd at the time. It gets more and more absurd now. I think RJ Barrett is, in terms of like guys under 23 years old who you would start your team with today, I'll do a list at the end of the season. I think we're going to put it up on the Patreon podcast. He's got to be close to being in the top 10 of that list. Top 10, top 15, something along those lines. Like he's in the conversation. So yeah, crow for all of them, and crow for me, of course, as always. I'm always eating crow here. It's what I do. Joe Vogel. First off, Randle was disgraceful tonight. I wish I could disagree. Tibbs actually showed some change tonight. Obi post up, RJ and Randle pick and roll, and no late game Randle offense. If you're going to give a silver lining to Randle, and who knows, maybe this is why he was pissed off after the game. They didn't go to him at the end, you know? And I don't know if I should give Randle credit for that. I don't know if I should give Tibbs credit for that. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't give either of them credit for that. Maybe neither of them deserve credit for that. But he stuck with Obi for a good, solid quarter there in the second half. Like I said, better late than never, I guess, right? But yeah, disgraceful is a good word. Nicholas Sang, what's going on, Nicholas? Thanks for chiming in. This should seal the deal on who to keep and let go between Obi and Redacted. I don't think there's it's not even a conversation anymore. Like they were imagine this guy. It's unfathomable. This guy was at the top of the world last year. He was an All-NBA second team. People were chanting MVP every time the guy stepped to the free throw line. And now they're chanting his backup's name. It's incredible. Good tweet by Ben Stiller. No, there is no conversation. But I stand by what I said on today's podcast. I don't think they're going to give him away. I think they are going to want a decent return. What team is going to give you that? We'll see. Jason M, what's going on, Jason? Always puts a smile on my face when you chime in. Where would this team be if Tibbs played Obi more? And again, I think I know what you're asking, Jason. Not the whole game. You're asking what if he played him, 20 minutes a night? To me, I think they'd be better. I'm just trying to think of late game execution. I hate to say it because we praised the guy tonight, and I've been praising him all season long because I love him. But to me, it's more the lack of a real floor general. And I think the more egregious thing is not closing games with Quickley at the point, as opposed to Burks. I think that's the bigger thing. Where would they be? They'd be a couple games better. I don't know how many games better they'd be. But at the same time, here's the unknown part of it, right? If you go out there and you play Obi 20, 22 minutes a night, and he gets more and more comfortable, how much better would he be by now getting in that rhythm? And that's a question we don't know. But at the same time, what we also don't know is what further effect that would have had on Randle. I mean, we could sit here and be like, well, he can't possibly be any worse. Could he be more disruptive to the team? I don't know. Still got to trade the guy. So, Roger Fortune. Love RJ's growth this second half. I regret the obvious because watching how Obi plays in an RJ-dominated team is beautiful. Cheers to next year. And that's the other great part, right, about RJ being the lead dog on this team as opposed to the other guy. It seems like everybody eats when RJ's the lead guy. He always seems to make the right – no, actually, let me rephrase that. For a 21-year-old kid, he makes the right play a lot of the time. He doesn't have every pass in his book, but we're seeing a lot more of those passes. He loves throwing the lobs to his centers especially. He loves driving and kicking. I think his energy and his effort and the pace of the game at which he plays with goes well with Obi Toppin. I'm so excited to see these kids grow together. I hope they keep this young core together for next year. Ryan Huang, love the collective agreement to deny Drew and to close. Yeah, completely agree. Chad Cohen, what's going on, Chad? Was Redacted's best pass today the one as time expired, throwing behind his back and almost hitting Burks in the head before storming off? I thought it was the behind the back, the no look behind the back to Jericho Sims' feet. That was special, but the one that he threw on the way off, again, I have to go and see that again because I don't think I was getting this thing set up. I'll go back and I'll find that. I'm sure some enterprising fellow has clipped it for the internet. So yeah, I'll go find that and take a look. Again, he's a guy who doesn't want to be here, and I don't want to say specifically in New York. He's a guy who doesn't want to be on a basketball court right now, or he doesn't want to be on a basketball court with these terms. He wants to be the guy. We know that. He wants to be the man. And he is not for a second accepting the fact that he's not the man on this team. I think he fucking hates it. I think it drives him nuts. Just me, a little armchair psychologist. Ray Rivera, what's going on, Ray? Defend Randle coming in for Obi. Tibbing. I can't. That's why I opened the show saying it was the wrong decision. Hush Zoo, Obi playing for next year's starting spot. Randle ready for Cancun. It might be malpractice from the front office if they don't move Randle and let Obi start, especially in year 3. He's shown the improvements. It's time. Again, my only pushback against that is you have to find a home for Randle. And I don't want Russell Westbrook on this team. I'm sorry, I don't. I'll take pretty much anybody else. You want to give me, name your big contract. Name your big like I was talking about it with a colleague today, actually. Gordon Hayward. Do the Charlotte Hornets want Julius Randle? We'll take back Gordon Hayward. We'd have to throw in a little bit more money. Randle and Noel for Hayward and, a future protected first, which they can't trade for a long time. I don't know. You doing that trade? I probably would at this point. With the Knicks, I don't know. Manny Campos, what's going on, Manny? Obi is shooting 38% from 3 in his last 9 games. Small sample size, but if he could sustain that, it's a game changer for him and our team. Hashtag free Obi. I think his lack of 3-point shooting hurt their ability to be good after when he was on the court after Rose went out. And I think the on-off numbers reflected that a little bit. That said, it's the fault of the organization for taking a kid 8th. And again, I don't want to blame them, but I do kind of want to blame them. Just circumstances. Part of this is Tibbs. Part of this is the organization. Part of this is Randle blowing up last year. You knew you needed to give him time to work that shot out in game situations. He's a rhythm guy. He played a lot of minutes at Dayton. We've been over this before. To expect him to get that 3-point shot going without ample time is really tough. He's gotten time lately, and that's why the shot's falling. So if you're the Knicks, can you look at this late season progress and be like, shit, man, you know what? We will have faith in him to do this next year, to hit that shot enough that we will be a functional offense, maybe even a good offense, if he's our starting 4. I would. Matt Smith, what's going on, Matt? Good to see you. 1, do you know if Western Conference playing teams can have better lottery slot than us, or are we worst case the 10th pick? So, my understanding, I'm not 1,000% if I'm correct on this, but this is my understanding, that we go into it with the 10th. If we have a better record than a West team in the play-in, I believe we go into it with better odds. So we would go into it with the 10th place odds, and let's say the Lakers finished with a worse record than us, but made it into the play-in. I believe they would have, let's say, the 11th best odds. Does it mean they can't jump us? No, they could jump us. But as far as the odds go, I think we would have better odds. 2, IQ, Grimes, RJ, Obi, Mitch, Rose, Burks, Cam, Sims seems fun for next year. You named 9 guys. I probably need one more. I'd love who would I like to round that out? Obi and Cam. This is probably not going to be the case, but I'm just going to spitball here. Obi and if Cam is your backup 4 or your starting 4 and Obi stays a backup, I'm not even really sure I care that much. You got your 2 centers. You got 2 point guards already, but Quickley can vacillate there. I'd love one more playmaker on that team. I like how you traded away Fournier too. I didn't miss that. You know what? So something I've been thinking about. Fournier without Randle, and even just Fournier more lately as the offense has gravitated away from Randle. He's been making more plays. So I don't know. Maybe Fournier with that group of 9 that you just named. I don't know how good that team is, but it's a team I'd be totally comfortable watching. I'd still like it better if there was like one more guy that they could get. Matt, Aussie Knicks fan, as always, chiming in. RJ, Obi, and Quickley were amazing. Point guard IQ came up clutch. Never want to see the Grinch again. This win was a perfect early birthday present. Happy early birthday, Matt. Thank you for chiming in, and thank you for tuning in, and enjoy a nice beverage on your birthday, perhaps, if you want. What I'm really happy, and maybe we'll get it. I'm sure somebody will probably chime in with this. I'm just happy we don't have anybody complaining about the fact that they won, and it like hurts the tank. I know there are people out there who think that, and I'm not even saying that that's a wholly irrational stance. It's just if the kids are playing well and they're doing it, that's all I could want. From Clee, thank you for the contribution. Just says God bless. Thank you very much, Clee. Really, and thank you everybody. I don't say it enough. I really don't say it enough because I'm just trying to focus on getting everybody's comments in here. But thank you everybody for making this such an experience this year. We have 6 games left to go. Unbelievable. 6 games left to go. If you count the 4 preseason games, we've done. That means we've done 80 of these things. That means we've done 80 this year, this season. That's 6 left, and you've been there for so many of them, and it's been great. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Clee, for the contribution. You guys are. I mean, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Stevens Guillame, what's going on, Stevens? IQ is not a point guard. My ass. I love it. Great win. I love that we beat those frauds. I kind of do like the fact that we gave it to we gave it to the Bulls. So let's do a little standings check. We might as well. So the Bulls right now are in 5th, tied with Toronto. They're tied with the Raptors in 5th place, 4.5 games back. They're basically out of it for a top 4 seed, more or less. They're a game up on Cleveland. So the Bulls could conceivably wind up in the play-in and could conceivably wind up playing Brooklyn in the play-in. How do you like them apples? Danny Gardner, always a pleasure, Danny. Not always a great thing because of the skill gap now, but I love how RJ takes every matchup personally, especially against the best guys. I'm happy too. I don't care that it may be irrational. I love it. So much good tonight, but I feel so confident in his future because of that mindset. He has the mindset of a star. And like, yes, it can be dangerous when you have a guy who would be better served embracing a lesser role who thinks he's a star and isn't good enough to be like a capital S star. I think RJ's gonna be able to toe that line. And I think RJ is gonna be mighty comfortable as long as he is a prominent piece on a team that is winning. And I do believe winning matters to him a lot. I think he likes being the guy. I think he likes it. And I think he embraces it. And again, these are good problems to have. These are first world problems to have a guy with the mentality of, yeah, I'm the fucking man. Who may not have the game yet. Again, 21 years old, may not have the game yet. Will he get there? And like, does his game adjust slightly if he does need to eventually take a very clear backseat to someone who is the number one? I'm not worried about that yet. And I love the mentality right now. So, and it sounds like you do too, Danny. Kevin Danishevsky with one more. What is there to say about Redacted? Oh, I can say some things. we can confidently say that it is the worst turnaround in New York sports in at least the last 50 years. Looking forward to your piece, but it's pretty simple. Max RJ. I will push back on what I said last week. I don't know that it's that simple. I do agree that he's worth it, Max, in this situation. As for Randall, in terms of like the worst turnaround in New York sports, I mean, God, I don't even know. I was too young for the Mets of the '80s. Some of those guys had some pretty high highs, and I think had some pretty low lows. Maybe someone who knows better can chime in. Um, you know, the A Rod stuff was crazy, but A Rod came with a lot of fanfare, and then was batting eighth in a playoff game. But that's different than this. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. SB Gorilla, what's going on, SB? Great to hear from you. Thanks for chiming in. Was gonna go ape shit when Obi came out, but I realized he came in with 3 minutes left in the third. Good game tonight. We still need to move on from Randall. Obi can do this every game. Granted, he is given time. I think we're all in agreement here. There's no disagreement whatsoever. I went a little ape shit. I looked at him at the scores table. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing there? Are you fucking lost? Did you make a wrong fucking turn? So, and that's on my guy. It's on my guy. It's on my guy Tibbs. Dom the dentist might be a hot take, but I think we have our point guard. I don't think it's a hot take anymore. I think they'll still look for someone at the position this summer, and I don't think that's necessarily a wrong move because Quickley has shown you the ability to be incredibly effective playing alongside a more traditional ball handler, and he has shown the ability to be incredibly effective in this role that he is in now. I think if he comes off the bench next year, as long as the team wins a little bit, I think he's going to be a 6-man of the year candidate, if not a front runner. And I still, there is a part of me that thinks that might be his destiny, but again, I'd be happy to be proven wrong there. Josh B, what's going on, Josh? We just have to get used to being happy with crumbs. Another good pointless win. Here we go. I knew one of these comments was coming. Looking forward to overrating the next role player we're about to draft. I mean, look, it's fair, I guess, right? I don't feel that way. You do feel that way. To me, this is how you build a good organization. And the game tells you what to do, right? That's what Tibbs says. The game tells you what to do. The game tells you when to tank, and there are right ways to tank and there are wrong ways to tank. What the Oklahoma City Thunder did this year, beautiful. Pistons, awesome. Perfect way to tank. Pacers, great job by them. Made a nice trade. Houston, not so sure. We'll see. Orlando, they seem to have some good things going on there. We'll see. You build the foundation of your organization, and if you are like, yes, history shows better picks. It is easier to land on a good player at the top of the draft than in the late lottery. There's no disputing that. And yet, plenty of great picks. Knicks haven't made them in the late lottery. We'll see if this year might be different. Or we'll see if they get some lottery luck. There's lots of different ways to go about this. I'm happy with the win. Frank Miranda, what's going on, Frank? Mac, what's up? It's your boy Frank from Patreon. What's going on, Frank? I don't care. Randall cannot be on the team, even if it means taking on Westbrook for a year. The shit will not get better with him. His value will plummet. That's the danger. Maybe this isn't the low point. if it doesn't get better, and then we're like a month into next year, and it is very clear that like this is not getting better. Like, what do you do then? Like, what do you do? I, I don't know. Hush Zoo, what's going on, Hush? Although he didn't make them, I like RJ's mid-range attempts. It's coming together. I wonder what our record would be if we played all our games without Kemba. I could kind of tell you what our record would be if we played all of our games without Kemba right now. Give me a sec. In terms of RJ, I'd like him to like he doesn't take a lot of those shots, so I do think those shots are a little tougher for him than they will be in the next couple of years. Um, I agree. Especially since I don't ever see him being a great pull up 3-point shooter. I think it's going to be something that he will get better at, and it's going to become serviceable enough that teams have to respect it, which is all it needs to be. The mid range is going to become so vital for him. It's going to become so vital for him. So I do like that he's practicing it. I don't think it's something he works on a lot now. So I'm not really worried that it's not great. In terms of the team's record without Kemba, um, in 2,720 minutes this season, which again is about 3/4 of the season, without Kemba Walker, they have a positive 2.3 net rating and a 108.1 defensive rating. Those numbers would rank right now in the league. The net rating number would rank just a hair behind Philly for 12th, and the defense number would rank a hair behind Miami for 5th place. So essentially, they'd be the same team as last year without Kemba Walker, if you go by those numbers. And that's with Julius Randle having the year that he's had. Jeremy E., when you have a distressed asset, you can't continue to hold on to it out of fear. You will look foolish later because the alternative is that it deteriorates more. You took the words right out of my mouth, Jeremy. You have a point. Kenny Rose, what's going on, Kenny? IQ needs to start a point guard, and Tibbs needs to trust him to start the offense. Obi, what energy every time. What a game by Mitch and RJ. All kids, right? It's all kids. In terms of starting quickly, like, I think the nice thing right now is you get to play him a bunch of minutes. I'm assuming he played 30 minutes tonight, which is fine. I don't think anyone would complain about the fact that he's playing 30 minutes. And he plays with the young players on the team. And I think that's the other important cog here. He's playing with the guys who are going to be on this team moving forward. That said, I was calling for him to start back in December, so I can't sit here and say that you're wrong. That's for sure. Played 27 minutes tonight, so yeah. Yeah, Lee, what's going on? Yeah, given the way Redacted has been acting, I love that this is caught on. I realize he probably wants out as much as we want him out. Chances he asks for a trade before we. Oh my God! If this motherfucker asks for a trade, oh man. I haven't brought up the Oscars yet, but like it reminds me of the Chris Rock joke that's been going around today from what was it 2016 when he hosted about Jada not being invited is like him saying he doesn't want to him saying no to like Rihanna's you can look up the joke. That's like Randall asking to be traded is like really. I hope he asks out. I would love it if he asks to be traded. Takes the choice out of their hands, right? Robert Cross, first time, long time, John. We need to extend Mitch 4 for 55. Let's get it done. I don't know if he's taking that right now. I don't know if they offer that right now. Would he take it? Would you recommend him to take it if you were his agent? I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe someone will pay him a few bucks more. I think that's what he's worth. I think it's a fair number. I think 4 for 55 is a fair number. It might be a little high, but I think it's fair. I'd pay him that. And if I were him, I'd take it. Drew P, what's going on, Drew? IQ is the point guard we needed. RJ is the most disrespected player in the NBA. You might be right on that. I said something to that effect a few weeks ago. You might be right. Burks over Evan next year. I hope Obi's 3-point shot is real. Pay Mitch. Julius Randle for Hardaway. Oh my goodness. You guys want Timmy back? Oh man. Again, I voted for Julius Randle as he won my what bracket did we do, Andrew? What was the name of the bracket? The Tums bracket, right? The player that has caused us the most agita over the last whatever it's been, 20 years. Or I forget how many years we did it for. Randall was my winner. Randall was my winner going away. I want him gone. For Hardaway, goodness gracious. Can I get something else out of that deal? Can I get another first? Can I get another Mavs first? Maybe a future unprotected first for when Luka says, "Screw this, I'm going to LA." Yeah, I don't know. These are the trades we're talking about. Delsky, I'm not a person to kick someone while they're down, but Julius looked so disconnected emotionally on the bench and the way he walked off the court. I really got to see this when he walked off the court thing because I did not catch it. As far as on the bench, I noticed it. He wasn't in the game, so it was in before like the 3.5 minute mark, but it was a massive shot that went down. I think it was a 3. Or maybe it was Obi getting a bucket. I think it was Obi getting a bucket. And the bench exploded. You could see the bench exploding. Except Randall. You couldn't see him. Now, maybe it was just off camera. It was behind the basket stanchion, like whatever. I don't know. Wasui Saba. What's going on, Wasui? I hope I pronounced your name correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. $2 for the puddle since it's the lowest. That's great. Oh, I think we're getting okay. If you guys give me a second, I'm gonna watch Randall walking off after the game, and you will get my reaction to this. Seeing it live. Wow. I'm gonna hold my tongue. Not gonna have a Will Smith moment. I'll just say he looks like he does not want to be here. Sean Ford. What's going on, Sean? J Mac on the year. On your trade deadline show, excuse me. I said Obi and Randall were 2 of the Knicks' top 5 players. Andrew mocked me. How dare you, Andrew? Saying Evan Fournier was better. This is just to say, LOL. Obi needs to play, trade Randall, IQ, and RJ forever. Who are the Knicks' best players right now? That's a great question because, like, everybody's saying trade Randall, right? If you are saying, and it seems like you're saying that Randall is not one of the Knicks' 5 best players, then you are saying that a guy who makes an average of $26.5 million over the next 4 seasons is not one of the 5 best players on a team that is going to miss the plan, which is another way of saying he is the worst contract in the NBA, which is another way of saying he is not tradable unless you attach significant assets to move off of him. With that as the backdrop, I think Randall needs to get his shit together. He's certainly one of the 5 most talented Knicks. I still think he has it in him to be one of the 5 best players if we were listing the players on this team. I just think he needs to get off this team to get there. I think he is gone in New York. He has gone bye-bye. You could be Markinson. There is no Markinson. Yeah, he's disappeared. So I don't know how to answer that. But it's fair to bring up. Harry Donor, what's going on there, Harry? With all due respect to RJ and the rest of the team, all I know is that I feel most comfortable in a big spot when the ball's in Immanuel Quickley's hands. We all do. Shout out to Mike Breen. Mike Breen said it best on the broadcast. I thought it was honestly it's the best line that I can remember from Mike Breen this year. Forget about the numbers. When Immanuel Quickley is on the court, the Knicks just play better. And oh, by the way, what are those numbers? Well, funny you should ask. Let's get an updated right now. With Immanuel Quickley on the court, and again, this is now a sample size of 1,611 minutes, 6.3 positive net rating, which is among guys who've been in the rotation all year, is tied with Obi for the best on the team. The difference and why I'm giving a lot more credit to Quickley, he's played 1,600 minutes. Obi has played just over 1,000 minutes. And a lot of that Obi stuff was his big number is because of his play with Derrick Rose at the beginning of the year. Immanuel Quickley has been slotted into a lot of different lineups. So Immanuel Quickley, by on off, has been the best player on the Knicks this season. So you're not wrong there. Wasui Saba with back for more here. And a nice two for you for making the hilarious comment about him being a puddle. Cheers, Macri. Thank you, Mr. Saba. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody. We're here almost an hour. We are almost 600 strong. We have almost 300 likes. Feel free to get those likes up to 300. That stuff helps us out. And thank you for the contribution, Mr. Saba. Ryan Huang, excuse me. This one for Julius. Oh, that's a good nickname. Julius Randle. I'll give you. How about this? I'll split the trademark on that one with you, Ryan, if that's okay. Kevin Danishevsky, are the Knicks beating the 13-14 total of 37 wins? Kevin, it's so funny you brought that up. I was thinking about that earlier today, how before this season, in our preseason podcast, I kept saying it. My fear for this team this year was the 2013-14 season. I guess I didn't know how right I was. Do they beat 37 wins? What are they at? They have 42 losses right now, right? Hold on. My math is not good. So they're at 34. So they could go 3-3. Do they beat that? Will the Knicks go 4-2? Man, I'm wishing I had picked 3-1 against Jeremy. Fuck. Will the Knicks go 4-2? They have Charlotte, Cleveland at home, Orlando on the road. Orlando's probably done. Brooklyn at home. Well, boy, would I love to win that game. And then at Washington, who's tanking, and then Toronto, last game of the season. Yeah, I think they can win 4 games. Sure, why not? Lunas and Marat don't need legit assets back for 30. I take a poorly made chicken cutlet for him. You just actually reminded me what I'm going to have for my snack. I forgot we had cutlets in there in the fridge. I've never seen a player consistently offensive rebound like Mitch. RJ, 20 points per game. Yes, he's there. He got over the hump tonight, I think, right? He gets just over. He was at, it's crazy. I looked up the stats today. He was at 19.9 for points, 5.9 for rebounds, and 2.9 for assists. Crazy stuff. He's gonna get over all those humps. But yeah, I think he made it over the points barrier tonight. So good job by him. And I'm looking up what else he had. He got 6 rebounds, so that'll probably stay where it is, and 3 assists. Yeah, it's like clockwork. D Zilla, what's going on? D, great to see you. We don't need redacted. Rest of the league knows he's not a star. Players will want to play with RJ. The youth is killing it. We're right where we need to be in terms of development. Progress isn't linear. I'm here for all of that. The one thing, if the rest of the league knows he's not a star, then you still got to find someone willing to pay him $100+ million over the next 4 years, which might be tough. Just saying. That's why at least I appreciate that people are coming at it with realistic trade packages for Randle, because you're not getting anything good, that's for sure. Andrew, I may have missed a couple supers, so let me know. I have Stevens Guillaume is the first one that I see after I just scrolled up. Randle and Noel for Haywood and Book Night. Bring them home. Randle and Noel for Haywood and Book Night. I would do that trade. Would the Knicks do that trade? I don't know if they're high on Book Night. He's not getting time in Charlotte. Maybe a little, not superfluous, but little overlap with Quickley there. And Hayward's hurt a lot recently, last few years. Guy was a pillar of health in Utah too, which is crazy. I would do it though. I like Hayward. He's a guy who just makes everybody better. Perfect veteran for a young team. The Neil's next door. What's going on? When Evan is on the bench, he is still up cheering for the players on the court. You're damn right. I like Evan. I don't love him as a starting player on a team that I would like to win a lot of basketball games. I like him as a teammate. I like him as a guy to play 20, 25 minutes a night for you. And I like this defense actually tonight. I thought his defense was pretty good tonight. Didn't shoot it well. His defense was good. Sean Ford. Tonight was the first time I could see a front court of Obi and Mitch working long term. Mitch pass to Obi was great. Yes. Again, Tom Piccolo had that on Twitter. Obi's 3-point is so key. I still think RJ Barrett's playmaking is the number one swing skill on this team. Although I'm starting to come around that maybe his pull-up 3-point shooting might surpass that for me. But as far as like non-RJ skills that are the biggest swing skills on the team, without question, Obi Toppin's 3-point shooting. Dom the Dentist, the way Julius left the game said it all. It did. Didn't need to say anything. Shame they couldn't get him out there for the on the post-game podium. I wonder if the beat guys asked for him tonight. I don't know. Anthony Taylor, what's going on, Anthony? I am a self-proclaimed Randle defender, but tonight he really looked bad. I know he needs to go. Perfect trade for me would be Randle, Noel, and our number one for Brogdon and Turner. What are your thoughts? Crazily enough, I had not thought of that trade construction until right now. So, I'm just doing some quick math. 40. That's not going to work. I don't think that works under the cap. I think you're a little bit off. Because Noel's at about 8 and change. He's at like a 9. And Randle this year, he's at about 21 and change, 22. So I don't think you're going to have enough because Brogdon and Turner together make 40. So we would have to give a little something else. Would the Pacers do that, though? I don't think they – so let's say we get the 11th pick in the draft or the 10th pick in the draft. I don't know. Oh, I might do that. I would. It's a better trade for the Knicks on paper. The thought of getting another nice draft pick in Walt Perrin's hands. Ooh. I don't know. That's a good idea though, Anthony. I like that idea. As an archetype for a trade. SB Gorilla with one more. Hey John, Did you notice how Mitch is all smiles when he's paired with Obi and the young squad? We can have a really good young team for the future. I mean, do we really? Do I need to like? It doesn't need to be explicitly said. Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle do not like each other. They don't like each other. Julius Randle doesn't like Mitchell Robinson. I don't think Mitch much cares for Julius. But yeah, I've noticed. I've noticed. Um, it's not great. It's not what you want. Okay, I'm going to get the pronunciation right this time. Wasiu Saba. I hope I did it better that time. Here's more for the great attempt. Oh, here it is. It's pronounced Wasiu. Thank you, Andrew, for putting me into that. I got it right, though. That's good. Thank you. I appreciate the extra contribution. Trying my best, says, is a sign and trade Mitch for Brunson possible? Unfortunately, no, it's not straight up. There would have to be additional pieces in that because of the way that base year compensation works with sign and trades involving certain players. But you can potentially, I think I wrote about it about a month ago. I think league rules allow you to do a double sign and trade where you basically have Brunson being signed and traded to the Knicks for whatever, and then Mitch being signed and traded to the Mavs for whatever. I don't know if I'm, God, I go back and forth on Mitch. And one more, the lack from Wasiu Saba, the lack of a floor general has hurt us for so damn long. I cannot wait for that plague to end. You know, I agree with you. It hurts us at times. I also am going to say that RJ Barrett is not a guy who should be commandeering an offense full time. And honestly, I don't think he's ever going to be that guy. He might be the leading scorer on like a contending team at some point, but I don't think he's ever going to be that guy. Quickley is the one who makes me maybe want to disagree with that statement a little bit. Again, I don't think he profiles as a full-time point guard, but like, and I do think you need that player, even if it is a guy like, like Lonzo Ball or like Ricky Rubio, like a guy who is just a functional, he connects the dots, he sends the ball where it needs to go. Like basically what Elfrid Payton was the worst version of last year. God, I did not expect to see Elfrid Payton's name tonight. Anyway, yeah. It'd be nice to get another playmaker in here. All right. Andrew, let me know if we got any more. In the meantime, I will say thank you once again to everybody. We are 5 likes away from 300 likes. I never make these pleas for likes, but I will make a plea for likes. See if you can get us up over 300 likes. Thanks for tuning in. It looks like we're done. The new KFS pod is going to be dropping on Wednesday morning with the legend. He is a legend. Benji Ritholtz is coming on. We're going to talk about all the good stuff that has been happening on this team and perhaps redacted as well. We got one more. Sean Ford. No, I'm saying Randle is one of their best 5 players. Oh, thank you for clarifying, Sean. And so is Obi talent-wise. It's a team construction issue. I agree with you. Can't have that much talent locked into a position. The coach will only play 48 minutes total. It's a point that's well taken, Sean. And I'm not gonna disagree with you that Obi is potentially one of the 5 most talented players on the team. I think RJ, I think Quickley, Randle still, and then Obi's in that conversation with like Cam. What is Cam? Remember Cam? Cam Reddish, everybody? Fournier probably does deserve to be in the conversation. But Jesus, we got one more. SB Gorilla. Next year's lineup of Mitch, Obi, RJ, Grimes, Quick. What's the record? Okay, what's the record if that's our starting lineup? RJ, Obi, Mitch, Grimes, and Quick. What's the record? My gut feeling was to say 35 wins. It was my gut feeling. That's probably going to seem low to people, but you know, that said, I'd love to see that group. Yeah, we'll see. Joe Dugan, that's a 50 burger. I love it. Okay. Thank you everybody for tuning in the whole time, and see you after the next game on Wednesday night. Peace out. Oh wait, no. Hold on. No, not peace out. We got one more. Wait, what did I miss? Oh yes, sorry. Jay. I didn't sign off. Jay. Dalsamon, what do you think about an Anthony Simons for Randle as a centerpiece of a trade? Would Portland do that to pair Randle with Dame Dollar and Simmons as a restricted free agent? I will give a shameless plug to the Knicks Film School newsletter I wrote last week on the idea of a Randle for Simons sign and trade involving Simons. It would be a little bit complex because Simons would involve also base year compensation issues, potentially, although maybe not actually, because Portland's cap situation is so in flux. Anyway, in terms of value, I don't think Portland is doing that. I'd be surprised. If I could get Anthony Simons for Julius Randle, sign me the hell up. Okay, now I'm done. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.